Hello, so this is my second video. Oh. Hello, so you're watching my second video vlog. You are watching my second vlog in Yeovil, Somerset, working as a theater nurse. So in my first video, I showed you my way going to work, and it was rather short kasi 5-minute walk lang naman yun. So basically, dito sa video na to, I'm going to share to you what were the steps that I took to come to the UK. To start working in the UK. So just an introduction, I'm working as a recovery nurse in Yeovil District Hospital under the Yeovil District Hospital NHS Foundation Trust, which will soon be merged with the Somerset NHS Foundation Trust. Today is 26th of October 2021, 3 p.m. I just arrived from transition training and I've been in the UK for a little over 2 months now, and I'm currently staying in Yeovil, Somerset, in the south of England, 2 hours from London. So in the future, I'll be posting more videos about Yeovil, Somerset, so that you guys who are interested in joining Yeovil District Hospital could get some ideas on how wonderful and how blessed we are. On how nice it is to live in Yeovil, Somerset. And oh, so by the way, my name is Jet. I also have another YouTube channel, which I will be posting a link here. And I used to work as a peri-operative nurse in the Philippines. I was also a former respiratory therapist. I also worked in Riyadh 5 years ago, 5-ish. So here we go. Like most people, ang first step is, of course, passing the English test. Meron kang dalawang choices. It's either the IELTS or the OET exam. OET exam. OET is already exam. So it's either the IELTS or OET. So in my case, I took the OET because I was less prepared for the IELTS, if you know what I mean. Kasi in the Philippines, kung nagtatrabaho ka, parang mahirap i-shuffle, mahirap i-juggle yung schedule mo sa work, tapos magre-review ka for your IELTS or your OET. Since yung OET kasi is specially made for healthcare workers, I chose the OET kahit mas mahal siya kasi hindi ko kailangan ng extensive na preparation for that. I will be posting a separate video as well on what I did to pass the OET. Just a teaser, I had only 5 days to prepare for my OET. Okay, so after passing the OET, kailangan ma-book mo yung first part ng NMC qualification, which is the computer-based test, or what we call the CBT. So the CBT, luckily, can be taken outside the UK. So habang nasa Pilipinas ka pa lang or nasa Middle East ka, pwede ka na mag-exam for the first part of the NMC qualification. So ang requirements for the CBT is, syempre, dapat meron kang ongoing NMC application. So gagawa ka ng account sa NMC Overseas website. So you're going to create an account in NMC. Kailangan meron kang passport, and you also have to provide evidence na you are qualified to practice nursing. And the first qualification is, of course, meron kang certificate na graduate ka ng BS Nursing. Okay? So you have to scan these documents and upload them in the NMC website. So the next step is, ngayon, you need to have your SPV, your State Board Verification. So in other words, your professional regulatory body in your country where you are practicing, or where you were originally qualified as a nurse, must prove to the NMC that you are indeed eligible to practice the nursing profession. So in the case of Filipinos, kailangan mong pumunta sa PRC and mag-apply for State Board Verification. So basically, depending on the PRC branch that you're going to, you may or may not need an appointment with PRC. For example, taga Northern Luzon ka, La Union, Ilocos, or around those areas. Ang PRC branch mo malamang is Baguio City. Sa Baguio City, hindi kailangan ng appointment, pwedeng walk-in kung magpapa-SBV ka. All you need to do is to fill up a form, and then isusulat mo yung reference number na sinend ng NMC para sa'yo. So it's a long number, if I'm not mistaken. May 10 zero doon sa reference number. Isusulat mo yon on top of your form, complete it, and then submit it to the PRC. And then you'll have to wait for like 10 business days for the PRC to confirm to the NMC that you are eligible to practice nursing in the Philippines. So while waiting for the NMC to approve you to proceed with your application, pwede mong gawin dito is you can prepare or you can start reviewing for the CBT. What I did before was nag-rely lang ako dun sa mga Facebook groups for UK nurses, international Pinoy nurses, and dinownload ko yung mga documents na in-upload nila. For the CBT, I've allocated a week to prepare. During that time kasi, I was still working as an instructor sa College of Nursing. And again, I might have this advantage kasi syempre kung instructor ka, meron ka mga resources habang nagtuturo ka. While you're teaching the students, you're also teaching yourself kasi nakukuha mo yung mga topics, ganyan, and syempre may mga access ka din sa mga exams, mga quizzes. Every now and then, I also try to answer the exams and quizzes. Parang yun na rin yung review ko. So, I only had 1 week to prepare for the CBT kasi I thought to myself, I've been working as an instructor for the previous months now. So, siguro that would be enough. And yes, it was enough. Hindi mo kailangan extensive na review for the CBT. I would say na mas mahirap yung board exam sa Pilipinas kaysa sa CBT. The CBT is only comprised of 120 questions, if I'm not mistaken. So 120 questions, and medyo halo-halo siya from foundations of nursing, tapos yung mga legalities ng nursing dito sa UK, of course, standards of nursing practice dito sa UK. I would say the OET was more difficult than the CBT. So, tip lang, do not take the CBT unless you've passed the OET or the IELTS. For the new version of the CBT, ang sabi ng wife ko is there are now 2 parts. So, first part is the numeracy test and second part is the clinical theory test. So, sa numeracy, doon yung mga computations, pero don't worry, hindi siya complicated na calculations. It's more on fluid balance, IV regulation, things like that. Dosage calculations are pretty easy. For example, yung tanong is, the physician has prescribed 1 gram of paracetamol and what you have in stock is 500 milligram tablets. How many tablets are you going to give? Ganun lang. Hindi ka actually gagamit ng calculator. Pero syempre kung times ka, pwede ka rin gumamit ng calculator. One more thing that I would add with the CBT is the time. So you'll be given plenty of time to answer the CBT. So huwag kang masyadong ma-stress. Nakalimutan ko palang banggitin kanina. For the OET, it will take you 16 business days to receive your results. For the CBT, it will take you 1 hour. So for the OET, you'll find your results in the OET website. So makikita mo sa dashboard mo yung link to view the results. So pwede mo siyang i-print later on. Sa CBT naman, during our time, we had to access the person view account to see the results. So another thing that most vloggers or most nurse YouTubers don't quite mention is that you can actually proceed with your NMC application kahit hindi ka pa nakapag-take ng CBT. So you don't need to wait for your CBT results to submit the additional requirements or documents for your NMC application. So habang nag-aantay ka ng CBT testing date mo, pwede mo nang i-upload yung other documents mo such as the police clearance, yung health declaration, etc. etc. So what I did was I approached my former professor. So he's a pulmonologist, he's a consultant, to help me with the health declaration. And honestly, kasi hindi ako masyado nagpapacheck up, kaya wala akong maisip na doktor na pwedeng gumawa ng health declaration besides my former professor. So I'm really grateful to Dr. Manuel Moniz that he was part of my success in coming to the UK. So what if wala kang kilalang doctor or wala kayong family doctor? What you can do is you can ask your occupational doctor kung if you're employed, yung residente nyo sa hospital, o kaya if you're working as a CI, yung school physician nyo, to provide you with the health declaration bit. So after the health declaration, the next thing that you're going to submit is your police clearance. These are actually evidence na wala kang derogatory record sa police. Kung hindi ka naman tumira outside the Philippines for at least a year since you were 18 years old, ang kailangan mo lang isubmit dito is the latest NBI clearance. And meron lang iisang type, which is the multipurpose clearance. Hindi mo na kailangan problema kung for local ba siya or for abroad, for employment, which is really convenient. And kung wala ka namang kapangalan sa Pilipinas, you can get it the same day na nag-apply ka ng NBI clearance. So I would assume assume na if you're employed, you know how to process or you know how to, get an NBA clearance. So I don't have to explain it in detail. So kung kagaya kita na nagtrabaho na sa ibang bansa, okay, for example, Middle East, you should have obtained a police clearance bago ka umalis sa Middle East. Paano kapag hindi ka nakakuha ng police clearance? So what I did was I asked my former workmates in Saudi Arabia to process for me. What you can do as an alternative kung wala kang kakilala, wala kang kaibigan, wala kang kapamilya sa Saudi Arabia or sa Middle East na pwede mag-process ng police clearance mo, and you think na mahirap, okay, and there's no other way for you to get the police clearance, what you can do as an alternative is to have your exit visa, your exit stamp, yung page ng passport mo kung saan umalis ka sa Middle East, have them translated and then attach a letter of explanation bakit hindi ka makakuha ng police clearance. A valid reason that you can use in your declaration letter could be that during that time you weren't thinking of working in the UK and there's no other way for you to get a police clearance since you have no plans of coming back or going back to Saudi Arabia, for example. So actually, hindi naman sila stricto regarding this. As long as pagdating mo sa United Kingdom at magte-take ka ng OSCE mo, dala-dala mo yung original documents na to. So I forgot to mention, all of these documents that I am mentioning, you have to, secure them. Okay, kahit mag-expire yan, dalhin mo pa rin. Dala-dala mo dapat lahat yan pagdating mo dito sa UK. So after providing your health declaration, your character, or your police clearance, kailangan mo ding i-upload sa NMC yung results nung English exam mo. So IELTS or OET results. So what you can do is you can download the PDF form or you can download the results directly from the OET website, for example. I'm not really sure with the IELTS kasi hindi ako nag-take ng IELTS, pero most probably the same way. Importante din pala na mag-secure ka ng mga invoice ng mga binayaran mo tulad ng CBT, tulad ng OET kasi depending on your trust, they might refund you. Most likely they will. Parang sa trust ko, na-refund most of my expenses. Then, regarding your CBT, you don't need to update the NMC about your CBT status kasi kusa naman siyang mag-update. So, all you have to do kapag nakompleto mo na yung part 2 ng NMC application mo is you have to prepare for your employment. The next thing that you're going to do is to look for an employer. So if you're staying in the Philippines, there are lots of recruitment agencies that can help you. So in my case, ang ginawa ko before was I emailed all of the possible recruitment agencies na nakita ko sa Facebook group. Please take note na I don't have a solid nursing experience. As I told you, I only have a little over a year of nursing experience as an OR nurse, and then I had other jobs. I used to work as an RT, tapos nagtrabaho din ako as an instructor. All in all, my nursing experience was a little over 1 year. Okay, so that was 1 year and 6 months clinical experience, and then added to the 10 months na naging CI ako sa College of Nursing. So that gives me, almost 3 years. So luckily, out of the 10 recruitment agencies na in-email ko, ang pinakaunang nag-respond was Perpetual Health Placement, and they offered me 3 possible hospitals kung saan gusto kong ma-assign. Royal Bath, Musgrove Hospital, also known as your Somerset NHS Foundation Trust, and then third, yung Yeovil, where I am currently working. So what happened was, it didn't really matter to me where I was going to work kasi ang importante sa akin noon is kailangan makarating ako sa UK by hook or by crook. So what happened next was Perpetual Health Placement Agency arranged an interview for initial screening, if I'm not mistaken. So I had a total of 2 interviews with the NHS. So the first interview, they asked me more about my experiences in the operating theater, and majority of the questions revolved around the surgical checklist. Luckily, in my previous hospital, we rotated as scrub, circulating, recovery. So, may idea ako dun sa surgical checklist kasi kami yung nagsa-surgical timeout. Hindi ko masasabing I am well-versed with the surgical checklist, but I was able to demonstrate that I am familiar with the surgical checklist. Well, to cut the story short, after the interview, I was sent an email na I passed it, and then they're going to assign me a dedicated UK recruitment officer to help me process my application. A few days after my initial interview, nag-send yung UK recruitment officer ko ng email, and then syempre nagpakilala siya, ganyan, and then she informed me of the documents that she would be needing from me. She also attached a conditional job offer, which basically itemizes what are the benefits of the job, what are the description of the job, and saan ako ma-assign, ganyan, what are the pay, paano yung overtime, ganyan, expectations, and blah, 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 blah. So those bits, okay, were sent to me via email. And I had to sign and send it back to her within 10 working days. So, nangyari was, I got too busy at work at hindi ko siya nabasa agad. Nabasa ko lang siya nung 2 days before matapos yung 10 days. Doon, nagpanic na ako, pumirma na ako ng job offer. It was very foolish na dahil nagpanic ako, hindi na ako nag-consider na tumingin ng ibang trust or mag-consider ng ibang hospitals. What was most important to me during that time is kailangan makaalis ako ng Pilipinas at kailangan makarating ako sa UK. So I sent all the documents, including my proof of address, marriage certificate, school credentials like my TOR, graduate certificate, or what we call in the Philippines, your diploma. Tapos, I remember I also submitted some declaration forms. They're just like waivers na willing kang magtrabaho and you are physically fit to work. There's also a form regarding the work gap. So it's a work gap statement. Kasi in my case, I graduated nursing in 2011, but I started working in 2018, which was really weird. Kasi bakit ang tagal kong nawala sa nursing? So basically, I had to explain to the employer kung bakit meron akong gap na ganun. Okay? So it's a pretty simple, straightforward form. I-itemize mo lang naman yung time frame kung kailan ka nagkaroon ng work gap, tapos ano yung basic reasons bakit nawala ka sa nursing profession. So nilagay ko doon, syempre, nag-enroll ako, nag-aral ako sa RT, and I worked as an RT, kaya may ganun akong gap. There was also a model declaration form kung saan tatanungin kanya kung nagkaroon ka na ba ng criminal convictions before, nag-appear ka ba sa korte, ganyan, or may ginawa ka bang krimen. Well, wala naman akong naaalala ng ginawa akong krimen, so I had to tick no. So I submitted these documents na hinihingi ni UK recruitment officer, and then I also had to, process my visa. Kasi if you're applying for a job in the UK, ikaw yung magpo-process ng visa mo. The recruitment agency is there to support you, but I would say minimal lang yung support kasi yung work talagang ikaw yung gagawa. Kailangan meron kang COS, Certificate of Sponsorship, which will be given to you by your employer once you submitted the requirements. And a requirement of the COS is your TB clearance, your UK TB clearance. And you cannot have this in any other way except through a UK-approved agency. In the case of the Philippines, isa lang yung tinatanggap nila, which is the IOM. Alright, so the TB certificate or the TB clearance is only valid for 6 months, but people recommend that you must get your TB clearance as close to your visa appearance as possible. Kasi actually, hindi mo pa alam kung kailan ka lilipad at this stage. So basically, I would also recommend na the closer it is to the start of your employment, the better. So I had my TB clearance in Makati. It's a half-day process and you had to pay 3,200, 3,600. Okay, somewhere between that. Okay, so basically, kung wala ka namang symptoms of TB, ang gagawin lang sa'yo is physical assessment, interview, and then chest x-ray. If it turns out that you don't have TB or you don't have a suspected TB, ang mangyayari is you can go home with the certificate. So you have to keep the certificate, secure the certificate as much as you can. Huwag mo siyang iwawala kasi syempre mahal. The other thing that you need for your visa appearance is your NBI clearance. So, yung NBI clearance mo, your police clearance mo, is basically needed for both the NMC and for your visa. what will happen is that your UK recruitment officer will send you an email. Actually, you will have constant communication depending on what type of RO you have. Pero in Yeovil District Hospital, they have a very responsive recruitment team. As in, sumasagot sila kapag nag-email ka, which I found very nice. Kasi syempre, hindi mo alam na nangyayari, DIY yung ginagawa mo. Kailangan mo talaga ng coaching as much as possible. So kapag meron ka ng NBI clearance at meron ka ng TB clearance and COS, you're now ready to apply, or you're now ready to process for your visa. So your recruitment officer in the UK will teach you, or will guide you rather, on what type of visa you're going to apply. Actually, ang ginawa sa amin, sinend yung mismong link to apply for the visa. So I knew na I was doing the right thing. So it was a skilled worker visa when I applied kasi hindi pa naman ako registered, kaya I used the skilled worker visa, and then I basically filled up the questions. I answered the questions in the applications, right? Dahil galing ako sa Middle East and I had previous UK visa denial in the past. Kasi I tried to go to the UK as a tourist, pero I was denied twice. I had this extra questions to answer in my application form. Ang nangyari was I had to explain in the UK website why I got denied with my UK visa. My recruitment officer also told me na pagdating ko sa payment page, or pagdating ko sa payment step, I had to forward her the link so she can pay for my visa. So tandaan, kapag mag-apply ka ng visa, your employer may, I'm not sure with other trusts, but in Somerset, they pay for our visas. Standard visa. Okay, in the Philippines, in VFS Makati, the standard visa arrives within 15 working days. So during my time, there was already a plan for August 25 flight, and my visa appearance was first week of August. So if I'm counting the days, parang alanganin yung 15 working days. So my recruitment officer told me kung hindi ako aabot sa August 25, she could pop me in the next flight, which was September. Again, ang target ko back then was to leave the Philippines, ang pangit pakinggan, to arrive in the UK the soonest time possible. So, kinabol ko talaga yung August. So, what I had to do was I paid for the express visa. Right, so that was 14,000 pesos para makaabol ako sa August. So, if you're going to avail of the express visa service, in theory, you will get your visa within 5 working days. Well, the problem was because I had a history of denial or rejection before, ang nangyari was I received my visa after 7 working days instead of 5. At least umabot sa August. So after paying for your visa, the next step is to set an appointment with VFS Makati. So of course, I booked the nearest possible schedule. So ang ginawa ko was, nag-apply ako Friday, ang appearance ko was Monday morning. Okay, so that was Friday and Monday morning. And I informed my recruitment officer of the date. And syempre natuwa, she was really glad na I was able to book that early date and the early schedule. So I had to drive from La Union to Makati City just for my visa appearance. So I went to Eco Plaza. So basically what happens during your visa appearance is you only had to submit the documents, okay, and get them scanned, and then have your fingerprints scanned. Well, wala talaga, there's really no interview at VFS kasi they're not the agency that processes your visa. They're just the conduit between you and the British Embassy. They might ask you questions like, what is your name? What is your full name? What is your date of birth? And why are you processing your visa? Where are you going to work? Or what is your purpose of going to the UK or Canada or wherever you are going to? And then have all of your fingerprints scanned. So ang purpose ng fingerprints is for your BRP, okay, which is kung galing ka ng Saudi, which is parang yung ikama o yung residence permit mo pagdating mo ng UK. Kasi once you arrive in the UK, your BRP most likely will be ready for you to pick up. Okay, anyway, they will send you additional instructions on that. While you're in VFS, you also have the option to have your visa be sent through a courier. Okay, papadala niya yan via LBC yata or UPS, I don't know. In my case, I chose the personal pickup medyo nag-alangan ako dati, syempre COVID with the travel restrictions, baka mawala in transit yung visa ko, kaya I did not avail of the courier service. But I did avail of the SMS service, which was 300 pesos kung di ako nagkakamali. And yun nga, after 7 working days, I received the text message na my visa was ready to pick up. Just a reminder, VFS will not inform you of the decision regarding your visa. Hindi niya sasabihin kung na-approve yung visa mo or na-deny. Ang sasabihin lang niya is it's ready to be picked up. So the travel requirements for the UK has changed dramatically from when I arrived. Pero nung panahon kasi namin, the requirements were a negative RT-PCR test 72 hours before arrival in the UK. Tapos kailangan din namin yung passenger locator form 48 hours before arrival in the UK. Tapos yung CTM reference number. Okay, for the CTM reference number, this was the hotel accommodation for the 10-day quarantine or 10-day isolation and the 2 COVID swab tests. Okay, nung panahon namin kasi, kailangan mong maswab sa Pilipinas, tapos masaswab ka na naman pagdating mo ng UK. But these have been changed recently. I think nowadays what you have to provide is some evidence that you received a complete vaccination from a UK-approved vaccination program. Did I say it right? Yeah, I think so. And the UK government website has specified actually what are the acceptable vaccines. Okay, and unfortunately, Sinovac is not included as far as I know. So when you arrive in the UK, there are some other things that you have to do or accomplish, but let's talk about that in the next video. Alright, so hanggang dito lang muna. Hanggang dito lang muna ang i-share ko kasi kailangan ko na magluto ng dinner. It's already 4 p.m. I need to prepare. I will be posting additional videos in the future. Probably I would start also sharing some tips on how I passed my OET with limited time, how I passed my CBT, and maybe more videos about perioperative nursing, working in recovery, working in theaters, what's the difference between working in the Philippines and working in the Philippines and in the UK, and some other bits about the Oval Somerset. Thank you. See you in the next vlog. And if you like this video, please click subscribe. You can also subscribe to my other channel if you like respiratory stuff. So I would start uploading videos again on that channel once I get settled in, once I pass my OSCE and wala na akong ibang iniisip. I'll be adding videos to that soon. So see you and bye-bye.